All right. Hi. Welcome back to Blatherhea.
Blatherhea.
I'm John Caparulo. This is Brian Shinanigan. We're back again for. We've actually already. We didn't record, but we've actually already discussed an entire podcast worth of shit.
We should
before we started
we should
recording
just hit
today.
record every time.
We really should. It almost feels like a waste to have a conversation with anybody anymore. It's like, are we recording this?
Is this how we recorded? Do we even say it?
Yeah, I know. But yeah, we've been talking about all our video game issues, and you were at a wrestling thing this weekend.
Yeah, we did Impact Wrestling this weekend. 3 nights of shows.
You went 3 nights. You went to.
Yeah.
This is 3 nights of shows that you went and actually were in the live audience too.
Yeah, as well as we did some bits, like where we were there earlier to do some filming stuff and everything with some of the wrestlers.
Yeah.
So it was like, and we were all dressed in matching tracksuits.
Of course, because of course.
Because of course.
I mean,
yeah.
Why? Yeah,
because you know you got to do it right. If you're gonna be on TV, make sure they like, oh, we got to put those stupid people on TV. You know,
you're a mobster's children.
Oh
is
God,
what you
dude,
were.
we looked. In the end, we kind of looked like a group of old Asian women with our tracksuits on.
Nice.
It was awesome.
Nice.
It was just fun, and people came up to randomly take pictures with us and stuff. It was just hilarious.
We talked about this before. You're into I guess into pro wrestling.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's like I said, it was like when I was a kid, really into wrestling and stuff. Went away from it for like a long time, just because.
I mean, I have to admit, it surprised me a bit when you first told me that, because you're a reasonably intelligent man, and
but,
it's like yeah.
Now I love it for the sport. Do I know it's fake? Yes. But I appreciate the storyline, the formula of it. It's fun to try to guess the storyline or be like, I was right. I knew they were going to do that, or bring out this dude or whatever, you know, like it's fun with that. And in the end, I can't pick up a 300-pound man and throw him into a table. You know what I'm saying?
No,
like
nor should you.
Yes. But it's still the athleticism and like just that whole thing. And because it's like...
It really is. It is white trash ballet.
Oh, yeah,
Let's just be honest with you. But it's impressive. There's no doubt about it that it is like a legit. I love that they called it sports entertainment, because that's what it is. It really is.
It's entertaining.
It's a show, and it's just I haven't been into it like I was into it. I think as every '80s kid was in the from basically starting with Rocky 3. I remember when the first WrestleMania came up. I was in 4th grade, and I remember like one of my friends had like seen it, and I hadn't seen it. He was telling me all about like, oh, Hulk Hogan and Mr. T, and I was like, no, you mean Thunderlips, don't you? I literally thought his name was Thunderlips, and it took a while for me to actually understand. It was like, oh, it's okay, so he's really Hulk Hogan, and he's really Terry Bollea or whatever, but he
Terry Bollea.
Right, and my bad.
We gotta get it right.
Put an extra vowel in your name there, Hulk. But I was on a plane once. I was going. I was flying home when I still lived in L.A. And I was on I remember I got upgraded to first class, and I was the plane was, I can't remember. I think we were coming someplace from Florida, which makes sense because I remember I look up and I mean you can't mistake Hulk Hogan, and he was a couple rows up ahead of me in the first class section, and I mean he's calling like the female flight attendant's brother and stuff like that. But it was like, he got on and I was like, it was just, to me, I mean, and he was really like, you could tell he was limping around a lot. Like he wasn't, like his knees are banged up. Like he wasn't getting around really well. Like he had to take whatever cart, like when you get in the airport and the fucking, the flatbed comes in and took him off to wherever. But I still just had this whole fantasy in mind where it was like, of all time, if there was ever a time on a plane I wanted there to be if I wanted there to be Middle Eastern hijackers, it would be on that plane, because it's like, this would be so badass. Like,
not today, brother.
Like, they're gonna fucking hijack the plane, and it's like you idiot, it's the Hulkster.
Yeah.
It's like,
you'd be like, this is for America. This is for all the little Hulksters, the vitamins, the pills.
It's like, yeah.
The test be like, oh no, it's Hulk Hogan. We picked the wrong plane.
Yeah, tell you where to stick your box cutter, bitch. And it was cool. Like, arriving, because he was such a hero of mine as a kid. I remember going to see him live in Pittsburgh, and a few times, back then in the 80s, we were talking about, like, I was supposed to see him wrestle King Kong Bundy, and he was, like, I even took a poster board sign that I drew. I was 10. I drew the Goodyear blimp, and I cut out a King Kong Bundy head out of a wrestling magazine. Like, this'll show him. Now he'll know. Now he'll know he's
a blimp. He'll know he's
what message am I really trying to send there? And but I remember, like, that night, like, King Kong Bundy didn't wrestle. He had to sign out. Probably
because he was drunk.
He had to get a foot cut off or some shit. And I should talk, but anyway, like, he was scratched from the card, and he wrestled Tony Atlas, which he was like the Moondog Brothers, where they just plugged him in wherever.
Mm-hmm.
Guy was built like a fucking statue, and it's like, really, he just they just put him in wherever.
Solid mid Carter, solid mid.
But but I was into it then, and then, there was a brief spell when I was finishing up college, so this would have been 98. A friend of mine that I worked with, again, surprising, because he was a smart guy.
I like how you preface that every time you're talking about wrestling.
It's not a fucking Mensa meeting, but it's like,
bro,
look,
I was just at 3 days of a wrestling event. Like you said, he's a smart guy. Accurate. There was a lot of America there, and they ate the sharpest.
Just a lot of that shit.
There's a lot of oddly shaped and looking people. A lot of
red caps.
A lot of hygiene issues. A lot of girthy folks.
Right. Again, as we should talk.
But yes.
But yeah, it just, I remember he was a smart guy. And he's the guy in the times I've talked about, like, the lizard stuff in my city. He's the guy who had the fucking the monitor lizard.
Yeah, the big one.
Yeah, and
you got to pet with gloves.
Right. So maybe he wasn't that smart, but no, he's just. But anyway, we worked together that summer, and he was into wrestling, and he would talk about it, when we were in the truck at work and stuff like that, and I'm always like, all right, I'll check it. And I remember I started watching. This was when, because I remember he was talking about, this was Goldberg's streak started. The whole undefeated streak.
Yep.
Even though he'd had, like, they just ignore a lot of shit in wrestling.
Yep.
No, he's undefeated.
Except for this disqualification. Except for this. Except for that. Yeah.
But it was like, because I loved, the whole Goldberg thing, because it was badass. Like, that whole spear thing that he did and everything. It was fucking sweet. And so I watched it for a little while then. And, and the worst thing that came out of that is, I remember, like, that was the time, like, I finished up school and I moved back in with my parents for, like, 6-8 months before I moved to LA. And in that time, I managed to get my dad back into wrestling, and he continued to watch it for a while. I think after it's like,
he's like, what? We're not watching it anymore?
You're gonna talk to me about the Steiner brothers? Great. And other than that, I haven't been into it.
But I think what got me back into it, especially, like, because I was out. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I could have cared. I've been more pro sports guy, football, that kind of stuff. But, like, it was just, I just started going to more of these smaller shows because Ron Runfunch is my friend of mine.
Yeah.
Name drop, ma'am.
You've mentioned it, yeah.
He loves wrestling. And so he would do a lot of these indie shows where he was commentating, and we would go, and, like, we would, like, when the show was here in Vegas, we went early, we brought donuts for the wrestlers, we hung out in the locker room, like, it was a great, like, chill vibe.
You're bordering on groupies there.
But it was still, like, a nice chill vibe. But no, it was more like that we were, like, accepted as people in the locker room. It wasn't like we were, like, fans were like, oh, can we get a picture? Because, like, I've been around enough productions to know don't bother the talent. You know what I'm saying? So, but they were respectful of it. We brought that stuff, and I'll be honest, we gave them a lot of drugs, and they enjoyed that quite a bit. Everybody loves weed, especially when you got the free stuff.
I would assume so. Yeah.
Yes, but especially here in the American times.
Of course.
But no, I mean, and it was just nice to get to know them, but then to just to see the work that went into wrestling.
Yeah.
How they planned the match. And then the execution of the match, and then how all the stuff, and then keeping the secret guests a secret, and doing all those little things.
Yeah, I don't ever twist my lack of interest in it to be to mean a lack of respect.
Oh no,
because I do acknowledge how impossibly difficult and athletic. That shit is. It's actually a lot of the things they do are probably a lot harder than the things that you do in pro sports, because pro sports is about getting whatever accomplished, getting the ball across the line, to score a touchdown, so however you do that. But it's the whole thing is spectacle there. So it's degree of difficulty is a must.
I don't want to be hit by a chair.
So, right.
I don't want to go through a table. Dude, I've seen some of the stuff at some of these independent wrestling events where a guy jumps from the top of the building.
Right.
Crazy stunts like that they do. It's incredible. But it's but just seeing the whole picture of wrestling and seeing the work of it, much like with the work of comedy, where I see the same wrestler doing, stuff where they're getting better, they're getting their stuff.
What kind of fight would you need to be in? If you have somebody out long enough to climb to the top of the building, you have enough time to get to the rafters. Really, do you really need to finish him off at that point? Yes. How long would you need to stagger around? Where did he go? Oh, what's happening? Oh, no, you shut up, lady. How much do you have to stall for somebody to get up to the fucking
what
rafters?
Fucking happens? 100% what happens?
And then just to be down there and still be where the guy's gonna land on you. Because it's still it's that's
But that was it
again.
Too.
That is impressive. In and of itself, and that takes a lot of training, a lot of it just takes a lot of fucking guts to do.
A lot of punishment, and when you miss that stunt, because a lot of it is stunts, you know what I'm saying, and if you miss that stunt, they're breaking light tubes over each other's heads.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying,
they legit are doing that. And sure they weaken whatever it is.
And they know the right way to do it.
But it's still, that shit still breaks over them, and it's still I don't care how much you weaken a metal chair or a fucking light bulb.
The blood is still real,
That shit's gonna fucking hurt, dude.
The blood is still real. The bruises are still real.
I dropped a thing of this fucking gross green juice that Jamie buys at Sprouts. All over the fucking kitchen floor last night, and I was cleaning up glass and juice. And I am terrified that one of my daughter or one of the fucking pets are gonna step in glass, and it's these guys are they're wrestling amongst the glass. With
light tube bundles that they're hitting each other with,
right? And I just can't.
Each other, throwing down tacks. The one I watched over the weekend, they had Legos. They put Legos out in the ring, and they were slamming with Legos and stuff.
I couldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't volunteer to be on any end of that.
And this one wrestler, Effie, that I follow, he wrestled here in Vegas a couple weeks ago, and it was a barbed wire match, and so all the ropes of the ring were barbed wire, and he was supposed to fall into the barbed wire, and it was supposed to hold. But the barbed wire didn't hold, and he fell, and the barbed wire tangled him up, and he got so cut up.
And basically they have to stay in character and just keep it up.
And just fucking keep
it
up.
At that point, when you got fucking barbs in you,
the match, when you're fucking bleeding and you're supposed to get a minor cut and you are cut.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And it's but the fact that they'll do this for a sport where they're literally, like I said, the comedy parallels are so much because at their level, they're doing it and then they're going back home to their regular job.
Right.
They're going back home and mowing a lawn. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're doing. They're really at that level, especially indie, they're the love of the game.
Yeah.
And that's why I said that's why I got so much more into it again, because it's so many parallels with kind of what I'm doing in comedy.
Yeah.
Because it's we all here grinding.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like I was telling you earlier. Like when I was at the Comedy Store, Roddy Piper had started coming out. And I still regret to this day that I never really took the opportunity and all those, because we never really, whether it was we didn't perform on the same nights or same time. I just remember I had my mom even send me my Wrestling Superstars doll of Roddy Piper with the kilt and everything and the hot rod shirt, and because I was like, I'm gonna have him sign it, and then I never like pursued a moment with him to like go, hey, can you, and but I mean that guy, like we were talking about before, it's like in that time with wrestling, it was like there was the whole muscle bound Hulkster, that physique was I mean they that was only just first coming in. I mean there was guys like, I mean, 'cause you have to take into account, I mean, because when you look back at some of those Piper's Pit and just the amount of times they had Roddy Piper out on, like, in the ring talking to the whole fucking crazy audience. And, I mean, he's in underpants. And he's in shape. But, he's not in, like,
he was dad bod.
He's not in 2023 fucking HGH fucking ripped shape. He was like, yeah, that guy probably lifts.
Yeah, but he wasn't cut. He was not. He didn't have the six. It was a one pack.
He was
like
way more Rocky 2 than he was Rocky 3. Yeah. All right, just put it that way. So it's like, but I mean, the fact that guy could hold a crowd like the way that he did, with the strength of personality in his underpants and boots, fucking just that takes some fucking talent, and I wish I had taken the opportunity to at least have a conversation with him, and I regret that I didn't.
Well, and honestly, that's kind of why I like the wrestling now too, because a lot of these independent places where all the guys that I watched that were stars now are kind of
also they go back. They're kind of like in the movie The Wrestler.
They're kind of now the washed up where they're like still just trying to make some money. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like I could have Jerry the King Lawler here tomorrow. It's $175. Like he'll show up. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like that's
just because it's not for a, it's not I don't even have to tell him what it's for. Or an interview or podcast. Like, will you just come hang out?
I don't even have to tell him what it's for. Yeah, literally. Like that's how some of these guys they just make that money.
Really?
You know what I'm saying?
Because
there weren't a lot of millionaires in those days. You know what I'm saying? And those guys did everything and sold out, and those steroids took lots of people. Hell, dude, I got a
hey,
flyer.
Forgive me, everybody, if I have a look like the dog just farted, because the dog just farted.
God damn it, Lando.
And
you're right in the wind.
It's tough to live over here right now, so I just want everybody to know.
I'm sorry,
what
Cap.
the fuck, Lando?
I'm sorry, really? Cap. Lando.
Would you eat dog food? Because what the fuck?
Jesus Christ, huh?
Oh,
you
man.
Dog.
I have plenty of animals who they also expel gas. One of our newer cats, God. She shits her pants on a regular basis for me. So
you know the vibe. The point is you recognize
all the time.
Yeah,
it's all good. It's all good.
But they handed me a flyer at this wrestling thing I was at that has Jake the Snake Roberts wrestling on it.
Man, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and he was crippled until he did that whole DDP yoga thing.
See, I remember there were a lot of people who really there were a lot of good reviews, I thought, for that documentary about him. It was about 10 years ago or so. And I'm into stuff like that. Like, I watched the Randy Savage documentary. I watched all shit like that. But that one was like just entirely too many, too many dudes crying and hugging. And I was just like,
enough already.
I get it. Life sucks. I get it. But can we? I mean, I'd like some more story or something. Yeah, it just didn't do it for me.
But I also think that all of the wrestling behind the scenes content that's come out in the last couple of years is also what's got me back into wrestling.
Yeah,
because it makes me nostalgic for the old days. Seeing the Ric Flair stories and all that.
You know what?
Stuff,
I do find myself sometimes down those rabbit holes on YouTube and stuff where I'll watch a lot of old school wrestling. Whether it's a documentary or it's their talking about the inside stuff about whatever back at that time. Yeah, of course, that stuff's really cool.
So it's kind of a twofer because I'm getting my old while I'm watching the new.
True.
And then you see all the new guys doing the stuff the old guys did, and the same storylines and stuff. It's fun. I like wrestling.
Yeah. That's cool. So we were gonna do this on the first episode of Blatherhea, but we we got to talking about some other shit.
That's what we do, baby. We blather here.
Shit just didn't come up. But anyway, we did want to address. We have we covered everything beforehand that we need to.
Yeah, I mean, we talked. You didn't have any shows this week except for the Wise Guys.
Well, I had the Wise Guys, the first Sunday special show. I hosted a show on. You weren't there. You were wrestling.
Yeah.
So
I was wrestling.
You were in your tracksuit, mingling. So you'll be in the next one. Which is April 16th. I started hosting we do like a Sunday night showcase at Wise Guys of like some of the young up and coming talent here in Vegas, and it was kind of cool. They asked me to host it, and I was really honored to be a part of it, and it was cool. It was a different, like I hadn't hosted like that in a while. I don't even know if it might be since like back when I was at the Comedy Store, like hosting fucking potluck. So it might be like 15 years or so since I did that. But so there was a different like balance I had to figure out, like how to well, okay, so I did my 10 minutes at the top, but I go back up because I could do shit between each comic, but it's like at some point are they going to be like, all right, or we get it,
just introduce
we
this
laughed,
guy.
John, go on, and so I was trying to like figure out that balance, but it was all together. We had a good show. I think it went off well, and like I said, April 16th we'll do it again. So if you're in Vegas, come on by.
Come on down. Shout out Wise Guys. Come down.
Man.
The only comedy club in Las Vegas not attached to a casino. Come down.
So we wanted to get into some. We wanted to talk about
some blather,
some stupid news stories. I like when we discuss shit like this. You kind of found a few, and I wanted to, talk some shit or have Blatherhea about them.
Or have some Blatherhea about some, because there's. And like honestly, like we were talking about it for this podcast. Like we should find a little more because there's shooting down Chinese balloons and assorted whatnots. It's like they're a little heavy. We're like
right. That's the front page of news can be a little bit. It's just even when you make fun of it, it can be a little bit like
But let me tell you, Cap, I didn't have to go that deep past page 2 for
right.
most of these. Like I said, these are not obscure stories. These are not things I found in the depths of like the corners of Reddit and stuff. Like this is like third one down.
Yeah, that's what I said when we first talked about this. It was like, you know what, if you can't find anything, just Google Florida man. You'd be all right because you have plenty of those stories that start with Florida man. But,
and a lot of them start with Florida and meth. I don't know why they go hand in hand so well, but they do. Well, Cap, which one you want? You got a nice list there. Which one you want to gibber? We got some choices.
Well, I guess. We'll start at the top.
Okay.
I'm gonna bring this up to speed on this.
I'm gonna bring this up on the screen for you guys, so you can all follow along with us at home, so you can check this out. So this is from the UPI.com. A Wisconsin woman breaks world record with 118,791 four-leaf clovers. Cap,
Jesus
how many four-leaf clovers you got, Cap? How many?
What's
your collection looking like?
I've never found one, and I remember when I was growing up, I don't know if it's like this now, or maybe it's not out this way, but like. When I was growing up, like, in the summertime, starting in the spring and in the summertime, like, your grass would always grow, like, you'd have those, like, little clusters
little patches of clover.
Clovers, and then, and then you'd have plenty of 3-leaves. I had 3 leaves for fucking days. I could dwarf that number in 3 leaves in one, before one grass cut. But, we would go out, like, I remember I had these friends that, like, because there would be bees all over those clovers. Like, there'd be bees all over the fucking yard all the time. Like, it'd be as scary as a kid to fucking walk out there. As scary as an adult. I mean, because you just, bees. But, I had these friends, like, these 3 brothers that lived up the street. And they, like, I remember, I'd occasionally, like, cause, you're scared of bees as a kid, so you stomp out bees, like, to prove you're tough.
Yep.
Like, you can't sting me now because you're dead. And these dudes, I remember they were like, no, you hit them if you hit them in the head, you could do it with your hand. And they would just smack bees with their hand. And I was like, that's fucking badass. I gotta do that. And so we were out in the fucking yard on our hands and knees smacking bees until caught a stinger right there, and it wasn't exactly funny anymore. But I have I have a bee sting story, but I don't have any fucking 4-leaf clover.
We were at smacking bees.
We were smacking bees. Like that's what people did before they had schedules. Before there was any internet. When you really literally had not only nothing to do, but nobody watching you. Like there was just
no supervision. Nobody say like
this is how we spent 3 hours today.
You're like, what y'all boys doing? Nothing, just smacking bees.
We fucking smacked bees and mooned cars, and that's what we did. And it's like, I mean, it was, that was childhood in the 1980s.
I know I've found 4-leaf clovers, but I didn't hold on to it for real. I know people that have like put them in their wallet and stuff like that, you know? But like, so this lady, okay, she eclipsed the last record of this, and like I said, you could all follow along, read this article in the links. The last record was 111,000 4-leaf clovers was the other record from the other record holder. So wait a minute,
so she beat the record by 7,000?
Yeah, by 7,000 clovers, yeah. And so this
why couldn't she beat it by 1?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Because she just didn't turn it in until then, or
apparently, because she packed up her whole clover collection and brought it down for an official count. Bro. Do you have a clover room at your house?
Yeah, right. Like, where do you know to bring that to? Like, where exactly do you I mean...
And this isn't the only record this lady owns. Apparently,
of course it isn't.
She's got,
I mean, she can't just spend all her time picking fucking clovers.
She's got the record for largest number of 4-leaf clovers collected in an 8-hour period, 887. Most 4-leaf clovers collected in 1 hour, 451. And the collection.
Is that a legitimate record, or can you just go? Okay, you picked how many did she pick in an hour?
451.
So she picked 451 4-leaf clovers in an hour. Is it? I don't think there's an official. I think you could just go. That's got to be a record, and just go from there. Just be like, look, nobody's. Dude, who's gonna protest this right now?
So when she brought her collection down, they had fucking 21 witnesses to witness her collection for the record.
So, not only does this woman have little enough to do, but to pick fucking 4-leaf.
Oh, yeah. She has a clover wing in her house.
Pick 6 figures of... You know how many clovers that is? I mean, how many leaves? When you multiply it by 4, I mean, you're getting plus 500,000 fucking leaves. But it's like, okay... So she has, but then you have 21 other people who have even less to do, but to watch her pick fucking clover.
Oh, yeah, because somebody has to be there to witness, or it didn't happen.
Well, of course, I mean, I'm not going to respect it.
Of course, it's like a hole-in-one. Come on.
Oh, sure you did. Oh, yeah, sure you did, yeah, right.
So, no, not only that.
Sure, it only took you an hour.
She also has the record for the most 5-leaf clovers.
Get the fuck out of here.
At 1440.
What, is she fucking picking them near a nuclear plant?
And the largest,
who the fuck?
And she has the largest collection of 6-leaf clovers at 210.
Isn't that just 2 3s?
They're stuck together. They're stuck together.
Because who's really checking that shit? I mean, that's
And she says, every time I find one, it still get that magical feeling.
And obviously they're not good luck. Because you know what? I mean,
she should have won the lottery.
After you picked one, you should have been done. Because I mean, because you would have found something else to do, and you would have,
she's hoarding all the luck, man. That's why we can't win.
Yeah,
she's hoarding it all.
That's why everybody's having such a rough time because you're hoarding all the fucking clovers.
Because this chick is taking
Jesus
all the clovers.
Lady. I mean,
it's like, dude. I mean, Cap. Like, I mean, we collect too much shit. I'm just gonna say that outright. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, of course, I just have shit in boxes that
I guess collecting something that's free is a good collection to have, because she's not out here, buying clovers on eBay. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe she is. I don't know her vibe.
How stupid do you feel if you're second place though? Because a guy who has 111 or whatever,
he's like, my life was wasted. He just has
111 just fucking yard clippings that are just there, and it's like you're not even the best one at that. You're fucking number 2.
What about number Clovers. 20? What about the guy who's chasing it?
Like if you're at number 20, you really just need to get rid of your photo album or whatever you fucking keep them in. Like what? Yeah, there's just no point. You're not even in the game anymore.
You're just for the love of the game, man. For the love of the clothes.
Yeah, it's just a hobby, and you look stupid. I mean, this woman's obviously a professional, and she's really made an enterprise out of her.
I mean, I feel like that there's some gardener out there somewhere with like, just you wait, man, just you wait. I'm gonna bring this collection. You know, like he's just like every day he's like, let me look at the lawns before I mow it. You know, like he's like all over it.
And there's like a fucking dastardly villain out there in the clover picking community, fucking yanking fucking leaves. It's only a 3-leaf.
Dude, the haters. They're like, no 4-leaf for you. I'm ripping leaves. But it's just, the effect, okay, collect whatever you want. All right, you know what I'm saying? And do all that stuff. But the fact that there was 21 witnesses, 21 experts to count her collection to make sure it's legit.
Like
we have too much time on our hands.
Because you would think, like, somebody who's busy picking fucking clothes. Because you got to spend a lot of time looking for clovers. Like that's
you got to find the perfect clover patches.
Like I said, in all my years, I have never picked a 4. I think my sister did once.
But what do you Google a field? You know,
right? I mean, like, does she have like Mad Hooper and Jaws where you had the fish finder? Like, does she have like some?
She goes out and talks to farmers.
How's
the clover crop?
She's
out with the Amish.
Like
how's the clover crop this year? English, you know, like
they had the telescope thing, or where they're like, no.
She's checking the weather, like, oh, this is good rain for 4 leaves.
Gotta go dig up the well of clovers. You know, it's like what?
Oh my God! Dude.
I mean, and all of those 21 other people, nobody in that group of 21 other people went, guys,
are we really doing
what are we fucking doing here? Like, really? Like, why? Like, I'd be mad to be like, hey, whatever her name is, why did you invite me too? Like, you had enough witnesses.
Look at every single one. They have to look at them all. They can't take our word for it, so they had to look at all 118,791 fucking clovers.
Like, is it? I'm assuming, because when I was a kid, when shit like this mattered, I don't know. Like, because it seemed like, before the internet anyway, all these records, like these ridiculous records, were kept in the Guinness Book World Records.
Yeah, and you got it as part of some book club thing that you had at your school.
Right.
And it was the only book you got because you didn't want to learn in one.
Right. And it seemed like, you know, because, I mean, do they have a website now that the only time I've heard of them, even in the past 20 years, is from King of Kong. Like, when they were to talk about how, like, the Guinness Book said what Twin Galaxies was in charge of the, you know, not until they realized how fucking shady that was.
Yep.
But, like, it's just, like, is it still that... it's the same Guinness as the beer, right?
Yeah, and it's blown up more because they finally went all online. Because I'm not sure. You used to be able to still get Guinness books for... I think they still do make the books. But the website is where everything is.
Right, it's got to be. I mean...
Because they're tracking...
don't need because the thing is, with the records being... You know, because that's what I always thought with the Guinness Book of World Records, like, as a kid, like, you know, one of your friends would have one of, like, a paperback of the Guinness Book of World Records would be, like, from fucking 3-4 years ago. And, like, okay, is this even still good?
And the only thing we all remember from that...
Can I trust this one, you know, is this man's beard of bees?
But tell me I'm wrong.
Is it still
you remember the beard
now?
of bees, but the only one I always remember is the world's fattest twins. And it was those 2 fat guys on mini bikes. I vividly remember that from the Guinness Book of Records. Like that.
The fattest one, and, like, you know, the
guy with the fingernails,
the smoked most cigarettes at once.
Yeah, we had the whole thing. Yeah. Like, I remember those pictures because when you got the Guinness Book, you didn't really read it.
Yeah,
you just kind of flipped through it.
Right.
You know,
it was just like, oh, okay.
It was the book I got from the book club.
Kind of like the Bible.
Let's just skip around
here. You just flip through and go,
God,
what do you people get?
They mentioned this guy Jesus a lot. Do you think that's similar to my friend Jesus?
He sure was full of himself.
My friend Jesus has a similar name, but it's
right. But we pronounce it this way because this one was white.
But I think because the everything went online and they could but they also made it a money making thing. Because you have to pay for these people to come out and certify your records and stuff.
Right.
So once they did that, well, you need more records that more people can go through, and plus, China got into Guinness World Records. Because they do so many of them over there. So many. It's like a thing, because in a country of, I guess, how many billion people?
Too many people.
Yeah, you want to kind of stand out and this is some people's niche not to grow your fingernails or do some weird stuff. It's just the whole records thing is kind of. But I mean, we'll go into a little more later. But like I said, I think let's Clovers. Clovers.
All right. So I mean, at this point we've talked about it too long.
Oh my God,
so,
Cap.
we're done with
the
Clover
Cap,
record.
This next story. All right, it is a remote kissing device. And once again, I'm putting it on the screen for you guys here so you can see. A remote kissing device lets long-distance lovers share silicone smooches. Okay? You get one, I get one. They're $40. You get one, I get one, and apparently we can kiss each other.
Not me and you. We're close enough that we can just kiss, right?
Yes, because we do open mouth, and I don't think you can do that on this, because we're classy. We have passion.
Yeah,
we have passion.
Let's not be unreasonable. It's just, me and my grandma have. What the fuck?
Oh my God, that's even more disgusting.
That's it. Your grandmother sent you as a gift for fucking your birthday. Like,
oh my God, here's a kiss for
thanks
Junior.
for the lips. Appreciate it.
And so this is a thing, dude. It's a Chinese company that made it once again, and it's supposed to be for long distance relationships, so you can still, kiss your loved one, whatever. And I guess the design of this fine device, which you can see on the screen here, buddy, was patented. And the patent, I guess, finally fell off, so now they can mass produce it.
To meet the demand? What the fuck?
Yes.
Really?
Because you can share your smooches via a cell phone app. So you go on the app.
Do you really think the type of person who's going to buy a rubber mouth is going to use it for kissing?
First of all, yes.
Come on, get the
first
fuck
of all,
out of here.
If you don't think the first thing someone does with this is put their dick in it, I mean, come on. Okay?
Exactly. Thank you again, Lando. I appreciate it. But
goddamn, dog!
It's
you got me square with that one.
So right, like it's exactly what I just can't imagine anybody. Yeah, it's like, I'm so glad I have this for smooching. What is so okay?
Right.
Is it like, because I remember seeing I think it was like a Vice report or something like that, where they were doing these experiments with like basically having two people have sex via like long distance, not technology. Being together.
Yeah,
basically like being through
in like a suit or some shit.
Right,
like
it was some sort of something. Yeah, I think there were probably electrodes involved.
Yes.
But it was. But is this that type of thing where there's there's like an electronic connection through a signal or something?
It's Bluetooth. It's fucking Bluetooth, Cap. Of
course,
Bluetooth.
right? Because
dude, I blew up this picture so that that looks disturbing.
It is fucking disturbing. I mean, what the
so goddamn disturbing. It's like this big. It's like this. It's fucking you got all right. So there is a feature on this where you can just turn this shit on and kiss random people. It's a random mode. So you can literally be kissing strangers on your phone.
This makes the Clover lady look like reasonable.
Yeah, why do you think I did him in this order?
Okay,
why do you think I did him in this order?
This world needs you, Clover lady.
Mm-hmm.
We need you for some decency, because this shit is just fucking creepy. And the fact that, it's able to be mass produced. Or there's people working in a factory somewhere.
Yeah.
With an assembly, packaging fucking rubber mouths.
Yeah.
to send out to shit, and there's none of them has the sense to hit stop on the machine and go, look, there's a guy that does quality control. We're not doing this. This is fucking like the rubber vomit was one thing. Okay, we did that for a while.
Some guys
Spencer Gifts was popular, but this is fucking stupid. Like why? Like.
There is a Chinese man in QA right now that has to kiss every one of these things.
I really do. Like this is like there has to be like they're marketing it as this remote kiss thing, but it's I think everybody who gets it and uses it, like they know what it's like it's to be a fucking creep. Mm-hmm. And it's like it's to
are these for public use,
right? Right. This is like this is far worse. Like this isn't something like you don't want to go to like well, I guess it's not like it used to be where can I use your phone and like go use your phone like what's this oh this mouth is right next to it, well I might as well get some kissing done and I mean definitely don't use the it's like a toothbrush thing. You don't want to use somebody else's fucking...
And, dude, and this sent me down a rabbit hole, too. Like, it blows my mind that a kissing booth used to be a thing. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, where like, the people pay $1 for it. Yeah, that's even before our time, though. I think
but still, like that,
I think
you get
they cracked
hepatitis
down
like
on that before
that. You get those herpes. You know
what
I'm saying? Like,
what the fuck? Like, what the fuck was wrong with people? They're like, I hate when they try to, like old people or whatever, like, try to make it out like that they had so much... Like, they had so much more decent values and they were so much better and the world's just gone to hell and everybody's... It's like, no, okay? Because when you think about, shit like kissing booths and slaves, those are things that people who did...
those were opposite ends of the spectrum
of course, those are the only two things I can think of right offhand. But, I mean, those are the two things that it's like, okay... You fuckers really have no business judging anybody younger than you or any generation that came after you. You guys were terrible in your own way, and we've had to clean that shit up in our generation. So yeah.
Of all the things, though.
Those things, I mean, I think those things, they go hand in hand.
I'm glad they're both abolished.
I think Lincoln fucking freed both of those sects. He freed the kissing booth lady, and he kissed the fucking he didn't kiss the slaves. He freed the slaves. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my god, guys, don't buy this. All right,
really, that picture it looks like those thermal underwear with the flap on the back.
That's why
it's like somebody unflapped their pants and then there's just a mouth there.
You can kind of see like it's like
you can see the rim there.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Am I supposed to stick my mouth in it like this?
You're supposed to stay the fuck away from it. Like I mean, it's at best a gag gift, but it's still I'm sure it's too expensive for that. So I don't.
Well, send us one here at the podcast.
If you're, I mean, a lot of secret Santas have their fucking gift picked out because,
send us a set here at the podcast.
That's so gross.
So we can have Cap and his wife try it while he's on the road.
The resale value is shit for that too. You got to figure.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's up there.
You see that at a yard sale. I don't think there's a price low enough for that one.
Some things are just meant to be thrown away.
You can't scrub hard enough on that for now. Yeah, that's
Dude, I saw it was a line online or an ad online when I was in Facebook Marketplace. This guy was like, full size sex doll. Only use once, free, and I'm like, once is too much, bro.
I mean,
once was too much, and that means I gotta come in your house and grab this and leave.
You? Is that? I mean, it's like, wait.
No,
I mean,
probably because he had that post-nut clarity and went, "What the fuck am I doing?"
Right. I mean, there's that moment of just like,
$800 on this.
This really isn't. Yeah, I don't feel so good about my purchase, and this isn't as fun as it seemed. Like,
Well, that takes us to our next from Kissing Mouse.
Look, it's the same fucking mouse.
It's the same. It's the same.
It's Steven Seagal's
I'm going to show you this
fucking
transition.
mouth.
It is. Oh my god! Is Steven Seagal involved in the other thing? Oh, so from our friends at the AP, Putin bestows Friendship Award on actor Steven Seagal. Huh? Who knew Steven Seagal was the great Russian hero? Who knew he was fighting those Russians for all those years in the movies? It was just, is it Stockholm Syndrome? Is that why he's like, I killed so many guys, I guess I gotta be, you know. Like,
did he kill Russians? Because I was there, because I, you know, like, look, I freely admit that I went through a martial arts, you know, phase when, you know, when I was so I guess my freshman maybe into my junior year of high school. I think I was just short of getting my brown belt in Taekwondo, but I was really into like you know, all the martial arts movies at the time. I got into Bruce Lee, and then I got into, you know, like all of it, like, and at the time, you know, that's when Van Damme movies were out and Steven Seagal movies were out, and it was before Seagal had, you know, became
before he became the video,
the fucking
the
punchline that he
champion.
is now.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
He was you know, he was, you know, his movie. I mean, he was kind of badass when you looked at it from a martial arts perspective, because it was like, you know, the way he used the Aikido thing. He was kind of such a big guy, you know, as opposed to Van Damme, who was like all cut, just in shape, and was athletic, and then you just have basically like your fat uncle who's just able to fucking like Marked for Death, like, and Hard to Get. Marked for Death was badass. He's fucking beating up short Jamaican guys, and it's just like, because he does that same move on everybody. It's like they all like. Stop running at him. Like, that's the only thing you have to know is, like, Aikido is based on, okay, I use my opponent's momentum against him. So stop running toward him with a fucking broken bottle or something. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna, he has that move down. Or he's gonna parry, he's gonna pull you toward him, and he's gonna throw you a clothesline, and you're gonna look dumb. Okay? And it's like so it's like, if people would just stop running at the guy and fucking, you know, like, I don't know. I mean, run around him, like, you know. But it's like he's not. But I thought, like, up until probably Under Siege.
Yeah,
that was the last great
box office draw.
Under Siege 2, which they were really, really pushing it at that point. But I mean, you know, it was at least somewhat okay. It was still like a relatively decent, you know, like it was a decent action movie. But as far as that goes, but then it just started getting stupid.
Oh, all the straight to videos. I mean, he made, like, I think he has like a filmography of like a couple hundred films.
Yeah.
He would do anything.
Yeah, it became that way because did you watch that cop show that he had on A&E or whatever it was? Was it A&E? I think
it was Steven Seagal's Hard Justice or something like that.
Steven Seagal Lawman or some shit like that, and it was like he was in some ward in fucking like New Orleans, basically.
Yeah.
And just riding around with cops, fucking just. I mean, it wasn't like he was fighting crime. He was just going and harassing groups of people who were like out, like maybe somebody had a beer or something like that. He just starts pushing them around or some shit, and it was like, you know, I mean, I can only imagine from those, because it happened a few times on the show where it was like, you know, people fucking, you know, they assume the position, they got their hands behind their back and like, yo, you're Steven Seagal. It's like, you know, I mean, that part of it's got to be crazy.
Am I supposed to take this arrest seriously?
You're getting arrested by fucking, you know, it's like you're getting arrested by the, you know, the guy from fucking Above the Law.
You're not only arrested, but then you have to sign a release.
Yeah, right. I know, right? It's like,
I'll sign away.
We'll take you to jail, or you can be on the show. And it's like, I mean, you know, I guess it was a much shittier version of Dog the Bounty Hunter, because it was like Dog the Bounty Hunter. I admitted, I think anybody who watched me on Chelsea lately knows I love Dog the Bounty Hunter when it was on. Me and Jamie used to watch it all the time when it was like, I mean, like I remember he was a guest on Chelsea's show, and they made a point. Like, I don't even think I was on that day. I was just like, come down to the studio, and I got to fucking talk to Dog and Beth, which was cool, man. They were really nice people, and they were really cool about it. And but it, you know, that show was at least, and you know, looking back, it's a reality show. It was somewhat everything's staged to some degree. It's like, you know, And it's like you're under arrest. There's a helicopter flying over above. You're gonna have to arrest him 5 more times.
Yep.
And so but it's like the Steven Seagal lawman. It was just like, I mean, his characters in movies were, like I said, for what it was different. It was kind of cool. It was different from any other martial artist. But it's just like, he's just one of those guys that is like, he'd be so much better off if he didn't let anybody get to know him off screen.
Yeah.
Because it just ruins it. He's just such a douche. And it's like, there's no way around it. It's like, and it's like, as cool as his moves were, and it's just, and he inflates his whole story about he was in the CIA and he was, and it's like, and it's not that I don't believe that. I don't care.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like, maybe you were, I don't know.
He literally is a parody of his own characters now.
Yeah.
Like the Russians show him doing these martial art demonstrations where just a bunch of Russian guys run at him and he kind of goes like no bend in the knees, it's just like,
Yeah, he did a thing. I don't know if you watched it on that Lawman show. He was doing this, and it's still, you don't trust, because he's lied so many times about things. It's so hard to trust anything, but it seemed, at least on camera, that he was doing. But he was like trying to, like, he had this whole thing staged where he's like, he basically teaches the entire police department how to shoot. Like before he arrived, nobody knew how to pull the trigger. Nobody knew how to pull the trigger on their gun, huh? But he was showing them, like, he was shooting, like they were shooting at targets, and he like would hit the target, and then he could shoot. He basically could hit his own bullet in the target, and it's just one of those things that you're like, maybe you could. This is probably bullshit, but even if it's not. How many times do you really need to use this skill? Yeah. Like, okay, you shot somebody in the heart. Like, wait,
stand there.
I'm gonna hit you again. Like,
same spot.
I'm dying. Like, no, this is really cool.
And the police say, "Oh, you shot him once." Oh no.
Right. Oh, no. Yeah, man. Yeah.
I shot 3 times, and they're all in the same hole.
I don't worry. I made a necklace out of the other bullets. Then once they came out his back, but it's.
Steven Seagal, man.
He's just, but I mean, the Putin thing is like...
He's a Russian hero.
I mean,
is it a
surprise that another American jerk became friends with Putin?
a worldwide jerk?
Like, I mean, Dennis Rodman, I felt bad for, because he was caught up in a whirlwind that he just wasn't able to handle. Like, I hated all those people criticizing Dennis Rodman for not being more of a fucking, like, being more of aware of Kim Jong-il's fucking
politics,
his politics, or his human rights issues, like, and
his country
and
starving.
we really have no business judging anybody in America. We really don't. I mean, we're pretty shitty to everybody here too. So it's like, but they, it's just like Dennis was, it's like he said, well, he's my friend, he treats me well. It's like, okay, if Dennis didn't have that miraculous growth spurt when he was close to 20. I mean, because the dude graduated high school at like 5'9" or 5'10". He had nothing going. He was fucking homeless. And then he has this growth spurt and he becomes the greatest rebounder in the history of professional basketball. But if he didn't have that, America's shit all over the guy. The guy had no chance at anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like, even when he became famous, he's treated like a freak. A lot. He was talked down to, he was shit on, everything, and it's like, for anybody to have this sort of, like, for whoever on CNN or whatever to start say, oh, well, why weren't you more aware, are you aware of his human rights record or what? It's like, dude, fuck off, all right? Yeah. Like, this guy has been treated like shit for most of his life, and it's like, you're gonna suddenly, talk down to him because he managed to be, to befriend this, and get in within these walls that are basically impenetrable by the rest of the world. And then you expected him to also be a politician. It was just the fact that he was able to get to where he was. Nobody expected him. I don't think anyone in Korea or North Korea was dumb enough to think Dennis or even this jerk, it represents our foreign policy.
Yeah, our path to peace.
It's
like
not about that. It's like, okay, they are who they are, and I think they look at him just that way. They're like, he's an actor, Dennis is a basketball player, and it's like, okay, so they're that. So if they're able to, and ultimately Dennis Rodman did, it's a shame that we didn't have... it was during Trump's presidency that he knocked down that wall, and we were able to. Yeah, it's like, once Dennis stepped aside, we were able to send in Trump.
Yeah,
which is how's that better? But it's like but it's like he did what he could do with who he was, and it's like
he put on a basketball game.
He's a basketball player.
What he set out to do.
They idolized him because of what his position with the Bulls. And it's like, that's all he was. And it's like, you take it for what it is. And then...
He was a goodwill ambassador.
You can't trip that guy and hold it against him like, oh, well, his human right... Dude, that's not his fucking... No, that's not what he's there for.
He was just trying to be a goodwill.
And you can't expect him to be that, it's not... You can't put that on him. It's not...
He's master negotiator
Rodman. Like, just because Dennis took this opportunity... Dennis... I'm pretty sure from all accounts has gone broke since his NBA career.
Yeah.
And it's like, so what? Dennis is going to, continue to live on nothing and be, and be broke in the United States, or he's going to go over there, take the other NBA players and make however much money he made from the guy in Korea. And yeah, he sung happy birthday to him. He was a drunk mess when he did it. He fucking,
Oh, I've seen the footage. So I saw that whole Rodman trip to Korea that they documented,
Right. So it's like, I don't, I think a lot of these things, like, I think the media stirs it up just to make a fucking thing out of it.
Yeah, but Steven Seagal. He's technically a Russian citizen now, even.
I'm sure that's what he told everybody, and that's
what Russia's telling everybody.
And if he is, great. Okay, good.
But they have him on Russian TV like almost weekly.
Okay, so all right, so Putin's friends with him. Yeah. So now he at least has two American friends that we know of, him and fucking and Trump. But it's like we're they're cool, fine, and it is what it is. If it does anything for us as far as foreign relations, great. And if it does, it's like, I don't think I don't think Putin or whoever else in Russia is stupid enough to go, okay, whatever Steven Seagal does represents the rest of it. It's just like, okay, so he managed to make friends with it. So it's like, okay, so it's possible for it just shows that it's possible for us to sort of get through all these sort of, clashes as far as, nations go. And it's like, on a personal level, it is possible, Then it's like, maybe we should just, maybe we're overthinking it. Maybe we're trying to send what we consider decent people to communicate with these guys. And it's like, no. Send a total prick. Send just a complete jackass over there. It's different over there. Yeah. The way they look at people is different over there. So yeah, their version of a nice guy is our version of a complete fucking jackass, and it's like that. Yeah, that works.
Steven Seagal, baby.
So yeah, it's America on opposite day over there. It's fine. Yeah, we're good.
And that brings us, Cap, to our final close of this segment. And
I wonder if when he landed over in Russia, that Survivor was playing, and there was the theme from Rocky IV. Because I would insist on that. If I was going to Russia, I would have to land in somewhere where it was snowing, and I need fucking dude in the burning heart. All right.
And that brings us to our last here, Cap, which is another ridiculous record to me. All right, this is once again from our friends at UPI.com. Put it up here for you guys. 960 people crochet at British Arena to break world record. They did not crochet together. They did not crochet the same thing. They just literally all showed up in the same place at the same time, sat there for an hour. World record. Cap.
So is it the number of people crocheting
simultaneously
at a time that's the world record?
Yeah, 960 people.
So obviously there were 40 people who didn't show up. I mean,
yeah, you know they were trying for the 80,000.
They were shooting for 960.
Yes,
Fuck
yes.
out of here. So they were going for. But it's still like I you know, it amazes me that like shit like crocheting is still a thing. Like now that you have smartphones and tablets, like really knitting. Like I don't understand like how knitting is still a hobby when you know you could be crushing candy or you could be fucking you know I mean get on the fucking app store and find something better to do with your time. God damn it.
But so the previous record for this was 604 people set in Australia in 2017.
Wow, that and those people, boy. How stupid do they feel?
Like,
now?
whoa, like we ain't got more friends.
What we're even doing? Like we weren't even, you know, we couldn't even make enough sweaters to fucking justify our existence at that time.
So, I mean,
when was that the 600 one? When did that happen?
2017. And this 960 that was a couple days ago. It
lasted 6 years. It lasted 6 years, and I mean just. You know, that's got to be really deflating.
I also got to think that that's like most of the people that crochet in Britain, that 960.
That's probably all of them, yeah.
Like
I would say, yeah. That's got to be, you know.
It's probably a good chunk. I mean, so they did this...
Can you imagine the smell in that room?
Oh.
Like, it's just... There's a lot of old gas.
Look at that.
In there.
Yeah. Look at that. They crocheted herself a damn lion.
Yeah, that's definitely that's a fucking lion head.
I mean, hey, you want to see crocheting, man? Go on Etsy for 20 minutes. There's plenty of crocheting out there. Like
Jesus Christ.
I mean, it was for a good cause. This was the culmination of a whole thing they were doing where they all crocheted blankets for the homeless. So it was like it was nice they did all that, you know, but it's still just like
I mean, they didn't have to all be in the same room
to
accomplish
that. Would, like I said, if you did 960 homeless blankets right now at once, but it's we talked about it in the earlier segment, and just where I think the opening.
You know,
and closing,
if they could crochet homes for the homeless, I think it'd be even better. You know, if you could, if you guys could get together,
just don't get it wet,
laying some brick. Maybe that would probably solve my problems more. Or, you know, maybe crochet me a fucking job. How about that? Or you know, some medicine. Something that would probably. I appreciate the. Don't get me wrong. I mean, look. I really this Afghan is fantastic in the wintertime, except for all the holes in it. Yeah. It's fine, but it still doesn't. There are just other things that could, if we really wanted to solve the homeless problem. You know, I don't know if blankets are. They're a nice gesture though. Yeah, so it's more than I did today.
Yeah,
so
I didn't crochet a blanket for the homeless, but still, it's just but in the end the record just it's. It really is like, you know. I mean, these, like I said, the lady picking 4-leaf clovers, even that, she took the time, she did it. This is literally, all right, y'all show up today, we get a record. You know what I'm saying?
I can't imagine. Like, that's one of those things, like, you wouldn't, like, would you even think that there was, like, there isn't a sweatshop in fucking China or something like that doesn't have more than fucking, like, all those people
1,000
sewing.
ladies crocheting right now.
You would think that they're just not counting it, or they're probably trying to hide it because there's children.
Yeah,
and they're fucking
there's a factory in Bangalore right now that broke that record already.
It's one of those
things
it just seems like, would you even think to call this a record? Of like, you know, like, oh, we got a lot of people here crocheting together.
We call this a Monday at work, you know?
Like, is it something that, like, you know, and then one of those things you look up and you find out, like, oh, this has got to be a record. And you're like, what, 960? Fuck. We only had 17. I thought we really had a big room full of crocheters.
You got everyone in town, yeah.
Where do you even fit all them? I mean, it's we had to rent out the convention center to fucking crochet. Jesus Christ. It's a lot of fucking, that's a lot of yarn, is what it is.
They did go to the Derby Arena. I'm sure they filled that arena, boy. It's just on the floor.
They filled it with yarn.
Like, all these chairs. They just put
Joanne Fabrics had a field day, man.
They put it in an audience of people. Just the things they crocheted were in the audience. I mean, some of the shit they crocheted was very intricate and stuff. I mean, I do see the creativity of it. Like I said, I've been on Etsy. I've seen some of the stuff that's made, but it's still just like, man, it's a dying art. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would say so. It'd have to be. I mean, it's something that, things like that you would say, I don't know, you would think that things like that die out because, like I said, most people are like, they have their phone now to occupy themselves with. Because you had so many, you think about it, before smartphones and tablets and the internet, is like how much time we had to, just fucking stare into space.
Because you had to wait till your TV show came on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It was always like...
You had time to kill. And then once your shows were over, you had nothing.
When I imagine, like, the idea that I used to just watch TV. Like, I just watch TV and not have a fucking... like a gaming device in front of me or something.
Only one
to,
thing
like,
occupying
surf
your
the
time.
internet or something, like, to divide my attention to. It's amazing. It's just like, wow, hey, you... It's but Lincoln freed us.
So I'm telling you guys, all right. So this challenge goes out to all the people watching the Blatherhea here. Find us a record that me and Cap can get. Find us something that is attainable for us.
Yeah, because obviously Crocheteria has been taken. So
we tried, guys.
Yarneria.
We wanted to make this
Yarneria 2023 is over now, so we got to.
We were gonna make this 100% a Yarn Crafts podcast, but I don't know. Nobody wanted to buy it. We tried. We tried.
Maybe we should be knitting on next episode. I don't know. Yeah, I'll and then I'll take my blanket to the first guy I see sleeping on a fucking sidewalk.
If you started knitting, your wife would be like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
I don't help me.
It's like I'm doing it in between my Madden drives.
Somehow I let my batteries die. So
I'm just making some socks.
Yeah, I literally have. I've given up my ambition in life, and this is what I'm doing.
Now I know is the yarn. That's all I know. I'm just about this life now.
Yeah, this feels like the right path for me, and I'm knitting a path.
This is it. It's all blankets and throws for me. That's it.
Man. Yeah.
Oh, guys, I think we've had a lot of fun here today on the old Blatherhea. We talked about God, man.
I think we wrung out the Blatherhea.
So much stuff. But Cap, where can the folks find you coming up here?
I'm going to Hartford, Connecticut in a couple days, and then after that. Check my website because I don't fucking know.
JohnCaparulo.com. We'll flash up his thing on the screen.
March 14th, starting at the Jimmy Kimmel Club again. We mentioned it last week, but Jimmy Kimmel Club March 14th starts the first Tuesday night 9:30 show. Brian will be there. We're gonna kick off my first of my weekly Tuesday night shows at the Jimmy Kimmel Club here in Vegas. So come on down if you're on the Strip.
Yep. Come on down, and as always, guys, you can see us for all your social media needs. Go to johncaparulo.com for all the John Caparulo stuff. Go to blatherhea.com for all our stuff. Like, subscribe, follow, share, do all the stuff. Check me out, brianshinanigan.com. If you don't know how to spell our names, I'm sure it's right down here below us. If you look down, that's where it is, because I probably put it there. That's all I'm saying. So, look it up. Thanks for coming by.
Star Wars. Yeah, whatever. It's
Cap, don't break the fourth wall, Cap. Don't break the fourth wall, Cap.
Star Wars and then a mayonnaise stain or some shit like I don't know. But
I got mayonnaise. Oh my God,
you're good.
You may check for sauce, Cap.
I didn't mean to fuck with you over your shirt. But yeah. Anyway, so thanks for joining us on Blatherhea, and we'll see you next time. Yeah. Peace.
Party.